Hi, I'm Psychotic Mr. L, and welcome back to my channel. The game we're doing today is Dead Rising, the Deluxe Remaster version that came out in like October of 2024. This game has been remastered, I think. This is the second time or the third time. I never played the other remastered versions of it. I only ever played the original version of it that came out back in the day. So I was very excited to play this version of the game. Brought back that nostalgia of the past of getting to play it again. Just like in the original game, there's 50 achievements. All of them are 20 gamer score. So that's the whole 1,000 gamer score for all 50 achievements. The achievement list is actually pretty much the same as the original version of the game. Little tweaks and changes, maybe like the names or the exact requirement of how you unlock the achievement. But the achievements for the most part are pretty much the same. Multiple missable achievements, so it takes quite a few playthroughs. I think I did it in 4 for this game to get all of them. But there's story-related ones. There's ones for photographs. There's ones for killing a certain amount of psychopaths. One for saving a certain amount of survivors and collectibles and kills with certain weapons in certain ways and everything along those lines. So a lot of the achievements are all over the place with what you have to do to kind of unlock them, which makes the game good. It doesn't make it too repetitive. Gives you a lot of options on what to do and how to play the game, and it's really, really fun doing it that way. There is one achievement in particular that I saved for last, and it's the 7-Day Survivor, which, if you don't know, back in the day there was an achievement for 7-Day Survivor, which essentially meant you have to survive 7 in-game days in the mall. One in-game day in the mall is 2 hours in real time. So essentially you have to survive 14 hours straight without stopping. But I'll get more into that achievement because I'm going to save that achievement for last. I'll get more into it as the video goes on. So yeah, let's just jump right in.
The game starts off with a very iconic opening scene to any video game, especially for one of this nature, just kind of giving you a quick glimpse at the world, everything that's happening in it, and unfortunately the bad stuff that's going to happen to the people in it. And the most important thing as well, zombies. You start this game as playing as the iconic Frank West, who goes to the small little town in order to investigate what's going on, especially with the zombies. This is where I get my very first achievement for taking my very first photo, because, well, Frank is a photojournalist. I then proceed to take more photos of other fucked up and stupid things happening to people around the city, some of them funny, some of them just sad. Afterwards, Frank finally gets to the mall. He jumps from the helicopter like a crazy bastard and does a tuck and roll like, anybody will be able to do perfectly fine. Then he runs into this asshole, Carlos.
So this is when we get introduced to like the main mechanic of the game and how the game actually works and what the play style and playing the game actually is like. So you get introduced to the time mechanic, and pretty much the whole entire game is timed for 72 hours in the game in order to do everything you have to do within that time limit and then escape the mall, which is like 6 hours in real time in real life. Made the game very interesting. No other games really had this mechanic back in the day, and that's one of the strongest things about Dead Rising is this mechanic, because really no other games from my knowledge had anything like it, and I had never played anything like it before. So that's definitely the mechanic that makes Dead Rising as unique as it is, for sure. At least the first Dead Rising, at least the first one.
Then I get my next achievement for entering the mall for the very first time. Frank then watches a poor innocent girl get eaten on the security cameras for some reason, just staring like he's staring into the sun. Then Frank goes downstairs and gets introduced to a whole bunch of characters, including Isabella. He just stares at her too. Then a bunch of zombies are at the front door, just being held back by, looks like, chairs and benches and old people. So I take a photo and get my next achievement for having at least 50 targets within that same photo.
Oh, I thought that was an achievement.
I then get my next achievement for photographing 10 different survivors.
Damn.
So there are a few photograph achievements in this game requiring you to take photographs of certain things. There's one for psychopaths. You have to take photos of 10 of the psychopaths. I believe there's 12 total in the game. From my knowledge, there's 12. But anyways, you have to take a photo of 10 psychopaths. You have to take a photo of all the survivors, which there's a total of 50 that you can physically take a photo of. And you get to take a photo of PP stickers, which is like a collectible in the game, and the way you collect them is taking photos of them. As far as missable, honestly, there's missable ones for all three. And you will see going into video 4 that in the first playthrough, I definitely don't get them, or nowhere close to getting all three of them. One of them was a little glitchy, which you'll see later. But they're very easy, straightforward. Any ones that you get in the first playthrough or second playthrough or third playthrough, they all carry over into the next playthrough. So you just have to get the ones that you're missing in the next playthrough in case you just happen to be missing any.
This is when Frank gets introduced to Dr. Oldfart over here, but don't worry, he'll come into play a lot bigger later down in the story. Then this crazy old bitch decides it's a good idea to put everybody else's lives at stake in order to save her stupid poodle.
Oh boy.
Honestly, I don't know how the poodle wasn't eaten alive already, being in the middle of the zombies, but okay. So she opens the door and just lets all the zombies in and then dies. Brad starts freaking out and says, we need to get going, come on, let's go. And this is when Frank takes off, just letting everybody honestly die one after the other, because I'm Frank West, and all that matters is me getting to my safety. Right after this is when I get introduced to Jesse, who just doesn't care about Frank at all. Then we get introduced to Otis, who just also doesn't shut up, but Otis is Otis, so it's cool.
Otis. Otis. If you remember anything about Otis from the first original version of the game, it's that he's annoying as shit. He constantly just keeps calling you. All the time. About everything. But if it wasn't for him, this is when we get the walkie-talkie and the map to the mall in the game. Very important. Without him, I guess we wouldn't have gotten those things. And there is an achievement related to him later as well for answering 30 calls on that walkie-talkie.
Right after this, me and Brad for some reason leave and think it's a good idea to go fight Carlos in the food court. Not really sure as to why, but we go and do it. Brad talks to me about some shit, and then I start fighting Carlos. After a few shots, chasing him around the area, jumping off ledges and falling, I get the achievement for free fall, which is for surviving a height of 16 feet or more while jumping. Or just falling. Then I go back to fighting Carlos. He keeps running away from me like the little pansy he is, but eventually I get to him, I get him trapped up here on the top, and then I take him out. Once again, he runs off, and then never to be seen again. Nah, I'm kidding. He'll show back up later into the story. That's definitely for sure. Then I tell Brad that I have a photo of Dr. Oldfart, and he wants to know exactly who he is and how I got it. So I tell him sure, under one condition. We work together. Either as friends or as enemies. Right after this is when I get introduced to the criminals. They kind of just run around in the park center of the map. Somehow they had a Humvee in there. I'm not really sure how they got it in there, but they're quite annoying. There actually is an achievement associated with them, but I don't believe at this moment in time I actually get it. I get it later down the road. Though in this sequence, I am actually trying to go out of my way to get it. Which I don't, because something happens and it glitches out and it doesn't work. The best advice I can give for you is to just stay out of their way, try to time your dodges with when the gun is going to shoot, and you should be able to kill them pretty easily with a shotgun or a good melee weapon. Then I get introduced to Psychopath number 1, John Wayne Gacy. He then rants on for a little bit, going on about how he's more badass than me. Honestly, his chainsaws, though, are amazing, so try to get to him as soon as possible if you need to use them. Then I start running around in the area, just shooting at him and fighting him and shooting at him some more and trying to dodge. If you notice, he blows up these little balloons from his mouth, one being red and one being green. The red one does damage to both of you guys if it's shot or hits you, and the green one heals both of you guys if it's shot or hits you. So make sure to use it in a strategic way. Then I get the achievement for defeating one psychopath, which he happens to be my first one, and he happens to go out the way I think he really would have wanted to.
Frank then watches Carlito drag the old man on the security footage for some reason. Brad gets very upset from this and decides he needs to go after him. So I decide to go after Brad and help him, but then we get trapped into this huge fight with Carlito. The second fight, except this time, he's got a sniper rifle. So just like any other fight in this game, I pretty much do the same thing. I just kind of chase Carlito around and whack him with the good-ass chainsaw that I have, and eventually, boom, bam, beam, he's defeated. And once again, Carlito just runs off and gets away with whatever he was doing, but not before firing a couple of shots and getting shot in the arm while also shooting Brad, and then once again escaping. But now we have the old man within our possession. Looking at Brad, we decided to come up with a plan, but we ended up going back to the safe house, and Brad's now unconscious because of his wounds. And Jesse's like, you have to go get medicine for him in order to save him. You know you have to, Frank. Everything is your responsibility. So that's what I do. But on the way there, I run into the criminals again back in the park area, and this time I decide to try to go for the achievement again, which involves killing them and then taking the car from them. I should have gotten it the first time, but for some reason it glitched, but this time I was very successful. So that's the next achievement I unlock in the game. On the way to the medicine, I run into the second psychopath in the game. Honestly, don't know what really to say about this guy, otherwise than he's a crazy manager of a grocery store, and he just acts like every other boss that there ever is in any other environment that has to do with food. For some reason, he has Isabella in a cart. Apparently, you can buy women now at the grocery store in his eyes, and he thinks it's a good idea to protect his purchase. So he starts going on a crazy rage, and it's time to fight Frank. Now look at this. This is just, in one take, this is exactly how overpowered these chainsaws are. He then goes out in style by having cardiac arrest in the middle of his grocery store, just like all other managers that are involved in the food industry. That's exactly how they all go out. Then right after, I run into this third psychopath in the game, the bounty picker-upper guy. And this time he has a wild hair up his ass, because he just wants me for blood, man. Comes at me with his machete, but I go after him with my chainsaws, back and forth, back and forth. From here, he just keeps dodging and running, jumping in some holes in the floor, popping up in other areas, but eventually, once again, he is defeated. He then gives his final motivational speech at the end when he's dying, saying that he's been a good person and here's some keys, go save some people. Which accidentally on this playthrough I completely forgot to do, so those people come into play later on another playthrough, but they end up just dying because I ignored the key thing.
So little did I know that those keys are actually a lot more important than they look. Those keys actually end up opening a door where there's 4 survivors in there. And I just kind of ignored it because I didn't really pay attention to what he was saying on his playthrough. So I just grabbed the keys, didn't really know where to go or what to do with them, and I just continued on with my life. There's 50 survivors. Technically there's 51 because Frank counts as the 51st survivor. But there's 50 people in total that you can save to get out of the mall by the end of the game. And there is an achievement for that. There's an achievement for saving 50 and an achievement for saving 10. The 10 one's really easy, obviously. But the 51 requires you to pretty much get everybody out of the mall without maybe just one person dying. And this guy gave me a key to a room that had 4 survivors in it that I just let die. So obviously, I do not get that achievement on this playthrough. I do get it on another playthrough that we'll get to. You want to plan out the things accordingly to know where the survivors are. I tried doing it this playthrough without a guide, without looking or anything. I wanted to see if I can remember completely from memory from doing it back 15 plus years ago, and obviously I just couldn't, and I completely bombed it.
Jessie continues to watch over Brad, even though I already returned with all of the medicine in order to help him. She then gets the idea to go talk to the old guy that we have trapped in the other room. Frank gets interested in this. He wants to know what they're talking about, so he tries to get in there and take some photos and get some evidence, but then they discover him and they decide, well, no, we don't want any of that, so they just kind of kick him out of the room. I then get my next achievement for taking a photo worth at least 10,000 PP points. This is the earliest opportunity and the easiest. Just give him something to eat, and as he's eating it, take a photo, and it should automatically be worth 10,000.
Score at least.
I then run into this crazy bastard somewhere in the mall later on as well. This is when you get introduced to the cultists of the game, these yellow guys, wearing weird green goblin masks. Anyway, so the box over there, they have a poor little woman trapped in it, so I go in like a madman, just killing all of them in order to save the girl. I think her name is Jennifer, or something along those lines, but Frank is there to save the day. Taking a photo of Jennifer, I then get my next achievement for taking photo of at least 30 different survivors in the game.
I'm sorry for at least 30 survivors.
We then see Isabella pull up to the grocery store where we fought Psychopath number 2 on the security footage. Not sure exactly what she's doing there, so Frank's gonna go find out. On my way there, I get my next achievement for taking a photo of the 10th PP sticker I have. There's about 100 of them in the game. They are just a collectible. There's an achievement for that and for getting all of them.
10.
On the way there, I run into Psychopath number 4, Paul Blart, Mall Cop. Paul Blart, for some reason, has these women tied up in a clothing store and just goes on and on about it, so Frank has to do what he does best and save them all. Before doing that though, I decided to make sure I take a photo of her. This unlocks my next achievement in the game for taking a photo of 4 psychopaths.
Whoa.
From here, Frank does what he does best in all of his fights and just starts to hack and slash him with his chainsaw. His mighty, mighty chainsaw. But after a little bit of doing it with her, finally, once again, like all the other ones, she is defeated. He then dies in style, dry humping the floor.
Damn.
I then run into the next 3 psychopaths in the game. Psychopath number 5, number 6, and then even psychopath number 7. The 3 guys from the movie Deliverance, who just want to make Frank squeal like a pig. So in return, I run around and make them squeal like pigs by butchering them like one. Even though they use sniper rifles, I use the machete and the gun, but eventually I take them all out. I then finally catch up to Isabella at the grocery store, where she thinks the best course of action right here is to attack me while riding her motorcycle. Nope, that's exactly what we do. We have a really epic battle. I then hack and slash at her with the machete over and over and over, while she drives away and drives into me and keeps driving away, and then I just keep doing it until she's finally defeated. Afterwards, talking with Isabella, I agree to meet her in her secret room within the mall. So I go there and I wait for her to show up, just playing with my camera and my lens and stuff. Then, bam, she comes through the door with a zombie getting ready to attack her. So Frank does what he does best and saves her, but unfortunately she got wounded. So now Frank has to save her even harder. Harder than he's ever saved anybody. So that's what I do. I then zip through the mall as fast as I can to get all the way back to the safe room. On the way there, I get my next achievement for walking 10 meters or more on top of zombies' heads, an ability that you unlock throughout the game while leveling up. I then get Isabella back to the safe house safe and sound, where Brad and Jesse do the 2 things that they are best known for in this video game. Jesse, who comforts the person that's being in danger, and Brad for being the person who bitches about it all the time.
Not yet.
Brad then demands that Frank tell him everything that he knows, as though Frank has all the answers to everything going on in the game, which if he did, the game would be very short. He then confronts Isabella and demands to know what she knows, and she in exchange promises that she will tell him everything as long as she just lets her go, and as long as we don't do anything to Carlos, because this is when you find out that Carlos and her are brother and sister. Randomly out of nowhere, the doctor comes busting through the door with Jesse, so Frank runs up and just kicks him right in the face. After a short conversation, the doctor admits to being involved with the reason why the zombies are the way they are and that they have to do with wasps. Brad then continues on with shooting the doctor right in the face because he randomly turns into a zombie. I then get my next achievement in the game for killing 100 cultists.
Oh, what was that for?
I don't know how, but somehow I missed unlocking the shortcut in the game, which is probably one of the most single-handedly important things that you can unlock in this game. It helps with a lot. So anyways, you go back to where you fought John Wayne Gacy, and you press the little button to slow down the ride next to it, and now this survivor will get off. This survivor pretty much tells you that he knows where a shortcut is in the game, and he's going to show it to you. His name is Greg. Talks a lot, but that's about it. Also, this is also a good spot where you can pick up the chainsaw on the floor. So we follow Craig all the way back to the women's bathroom that's in that area, and he shows us that there's a ladder there, and that unlocks my next achievement for unlocking the shortcut, or known as the secret passageway as well. Isabella then confesses what Carlos plans on doing for the rest of the game. It actually involves explosives and the wasps for some reason, and somehow Carlos thinks it'll spread the zombie virus around the world if he does it this specific way instead of just letting wasps free into the wild or something. I don't know. But anyways, I go down into the underground parking garage and I start getting the bombs one after the other very quickly. While doing this, Carlos is chasing me in another truck and also throwing a bunch of bombs at me in order to try to stop me. While doing this, I then get my next 2 achievements in the game. One for killing 1,000 zombies in total, and another achievement for getting 500 kills with cars.
Oh. Cool. And that.
Then, when I only have 1 bomb left to go, this happens. Unfortunately, that means I have to get the first 4 bombs all over again before I can get the 5th one that I was missing originally. Hoping to God that I don't die from something random again, from Carlos throwing a bomb at me or a car hitting me. I then get all 5 bombs and throw them into a little shopping cart and then run like hell out of the parking garage in order to save the day. During this, Brad shoots Carlos in the stomach. Carlos then stabs Brad in the back. Then right afterwards immediately kicks Brad right out into the open of the parking garage. Brad then realizes he's surrounded by millions of zombies, never to be seen again. On this playthrough.
So spoilers ahead, just in case you don't know, there are 2 achievements linked to Brad and Jesse, each one of them having their own achievement. It's for finding them when they're in their zombie mode, which means they get turned into zombies throughout the playthrough. Yeah, so there's an achievement for finding them when they're both zombies.
We then return to the safe house where Isabella agrees to help us stop Carlos once and for all, stopping his evil plans from taking over the world and destroying it. She then shows us her little secret hideout that she's had the entire time in the mall, up within the ceiling of the one area of the mall in the North Plaza. She then assumes the position, which then Frank, takes his time to really look at and enjoy with all of its glory.
Frank's just watching it.
Jessie then calls us on the radio, saying that there's something she would like to show me back at the safe house. So then I return her to see this gigantic beast of a monster just dragging Carlos. Jesse says that we need to go in there, we need to save him, we have to do everything it takes, because he's the only one that could possibly stop what his plan was to begin with. Immediately, I get my next achievement for traveling a total of 26.2 miles. We then get the psychopath number 8, who's the one that's holding Carlos captive. He puts Carlos on a random hook that I unfortunately can't show you the whole scene, but anyways, he's like a really mad, fat, bigger Gordon Ramsay. Just crazier as well. This fight's a little bit different than most of the boss fights in the game. He's a lot tougher. He picks up crap around the area, throws it at you, and he has this annoying ass move where he picks you up and he puts you on a hook, and then you have to button mash in order to get out of it. But anyways, after kicking him and slashing him with my trusty chainsaw and katana, he eventually does go down and I beat him. Not only does Gordon Ramsay die right after this fight, but unfortunately so does Carlos. Which he then gives us some sort of random necklace in order to give to Isabella in order to gain back her trust, and for her to get the password into his computer to know how to stop everything as well. I then return back to Isabella and I give her the bad news that Carlos is no longer among the living. I then give her the necklace that Carlos gave to me. She immediately knows what it is. She immediately also knows how to get the password to get into the computer. This is when Jesse calls me and says that shit's going down. The 3 days are up and the military has arrived. So now she's scared in the corner. This guy walks in to find zombie Jesse eating another guy. Then she goes crazy and starts screaming into the air for no reason, never to be seen again. On this playthrough.
Honestly, how did she ever turn into a zombie? If anybody knows, just please just let me know down in the comments or something. I refuse to Google this. I just want somebody to tell me it. I wanted to find out for myself. After like 4 playthroughs, I still don't know how the hell Jessie turned into a zombie. Did somebody infect her? Did somebody bite her? Did she do it to herself? Was it just randomness, like spontaneous combustion? I have no idea how she turns into a zombie. Even after all the playthroughs, I have no clue. So if somebody knows, just please let me know how it happens.
The military then infiltrates the rest of them all like crazy people with machine guns. I get captured and for some reason I'm put into my underwear where I have to escape. I then get a rocket and use it to shoot a helicopter out of the sky, getting my next achievement.
And then I immediately died.
Now on the 3rd day, Frank makes it back all the way to the helipad that he was supposed to after 3 days to meet back up with his helicopter driver. Unfortunately, the helicopter driver isn't there when you show up there, and Frank starts to get a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous, but I mean, who can blame him, But anyways, the only reason why he's not there is because he was waiting to actually see if Frank would be there. So then he heads out over there to rescue Frank and save the day. Potentially. On the way there, though, got some bad news for you, helicopter pilot guy, because a zombie somehow ends up being in there and eating you while you're trying to drive it. And Frank just has to watch on, knowing that he'll never escape this damn mall. Then he watches the helicopter explode into the distance, realizing that his life has become nothing and is meaningless while he lays here in his underwear, falling to his knees. Realizing that he's lost all hope and everything is going to end, he just sits there and waits for the inevitable, as he slowly gets surrounded by zombies, waiting to be eaten, and me turned into zombie poop. Then I get my next 3 achievements in the game. The first achievement for beating the 72-hour mode, which is essentially just beating the normal story mode in the game. Next achievement for getting 10 survivors out of the mall. And the third achievement for unlocking overtime mode, which is where you get the true ending of the game.
Now, overtime mode, it's essentially like the epilogue of the game. So this game has multiple endings. There's multiple different endings, depending on things that you do. Like if you fail all the main quests, you get one different ending for that, which is a really bad ending. If you just fail a quest, I believe in Chapter 7, specifically, Chapter 7, you get a completely different ending. If you're late to the chopper, if you're not late to the chopper, there's a bunch of different endings. The main ending of the game is if you do every main quest without messing anything up, or Isabella dying, I believe, which I think there's ways for her to die. I don't remember. I don't think so. Maybe there's not. But as long as you get to the helicopter before noon on the third day with all the main quests being done, you'll unlock overtime mode. And overtime mode is where you can unlock the a bunch of other achievements, but also unlock the true ending to the game that you have to get, that you can only get in overtime mode. Which honestly, overtime mode is really easy to unlock. Just do the damn main quests of the game, you'll unlock it. I unlocked it every playthrough without even trying. It's really, really, really easy to unlock.
The overtime mode starts off right away with Isabella immediately saving us from being eaten by zombies. From here on out, the rest of the game is pretty much just doing a large fetch quest for Isabella. And pretty much you're obtaining all of these items in order to create the very first version of Zombrex, which if you played any of the later versions of the games, Dead Rising 2, Dead Rising 3, Dead Rising 4, you would know of Zombrex and the fact that she was the one that actually created it originally. So that's essentially what you do in overtime mode, is just a huge fetch quest to get those items. I then get my next achievement for firing 300 bullets.
No, there's that achievement for that.
And then another achievement for killing 10 Special Force officers. For Isabella, I get item number 1, a first aid kit. Item number 2, a blender. Item number 3, cold spray. Item number 4, developing solution. Item number 5, a perfume bottle. Item number 6, a camp stove. Item number 7, coffee filters. And finally, item number 8, a magnifying glass.
So the 8 items that she wants us to get, they're around the mall in one huge gigantic circle just around the mall. And they're on the mall. They're on your map. If you look at your map, there'll be a little symbol for where the items are. Very easy to find.
Now we go back to Isabella and return all the items to her that she had us go out and get for her gigantic fetch quest. From here, she starts showing us things on the laptop. She starts putting mathematical equations together to see how strong the vaccine or Zombrex could be. But she also goes over what Carlos's real plan was. And that's, unfortunately, a really big, sad one. Carlos had a plan to have at least one person in every state infected, so when they would activate, they would be able to release a zombie apocalypse in each state. Now it's up to us to stop it. Apparently. I don't know. Zombrex will do it, though. Isabella then has us go and get a generator for her. I then get my next achievement for defeating 30 Special Forces barehanded.
Oh, that's not.
So defeating the Special Forces guys with melee attacks, whatever, at first I thought it had to be punching specifically, like you had to be punching them in the face, and I was trying to do that, and it was very rage-inducing and very, very hard. And then I realized that you don't. There's abilities and moves that you learn as you level up, like karate chopping and stuff, and picking the guys up and slamming them backwards, or tossing them and spinning them around and throwing them, and they're all one-hit kills on the Special Force guys. And they all count as a melee kill. So just do that. Just do like the easiest 1 to 30 of them. You can even just walk in a room, spawn the guy, do it, walk out, walk back in, spawn him again, and do it to the same guy 30 times. And that's all you have to do to unlock the achievement.
The next thing I have to get for Isabella is 10 of the queens. Unfortunately, you might not get many of these naturally during your playthrough, but the best way to do it is to go into the parking garage. Just start running over and killing a bunch of zombies, blowing them up as many as you can, doing whatever you can to kill a lot of them at once. Shouldn't take too long, but you eventually will get all 10 of them, and it's honestly the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. It's the only way that you could really find a lot of them at once, and one right after the other, back to back to back. Isabella then finishes making her black tar, and then proceeds to go on to shoot herself and you up with it. After this, you and Isabella have to escape. Hopefully the Zombrex works and makes you semi-immune, so you bolt through the underground passage that you found a little bit earlier when getting the generator. You got to get through there as fast as you can until you get to the Humvee, and this is when you get to one of the most interesting boss fights in the game after this. The tank. The tank is very interesting because there's not any other boss fight that's really a vehicle or anything like that. But ultimately the goal here is just shoot anything that is green. Shoot at the green light, shoot at the little thing on top that has the green beam at it, and make sure to shoot the missiles as well that are firing at you. The boss fight's not that hard. Should only take about 2 minutes at the most. As long as you keep firing and not missing the green areas, you got it. Then you get to the final boss fight in the game, Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan kind of just is there. I mean, he doesn't really show up until the very end game of the game. I believe even in overtime mode is when you first see him. I don't really know exactly what he's doing. He pretty much just wants to stop the zombie evidence from being released to the public, and he'll do whatever it takes to do it. You then fight Lieutenant Dan in hand-to-hand combat. The irony of this is that this one still has his legs compared to the movie. But maybe we could do something about that. Break his legs off, twist them off, rip them off. But anyways, you just want to keep fighting them with hand-to-hand combat. There's no weapons here, so you want to use all of your skills and abilities, as much of them as you have, and keep punching and kicking and flip kicking and everything that you can do. But eventually he will succumb to your ability to punch him in the face continuously, and you will beat him. And then he goes out, typical fashion, smiling while being eaten by a bunch of zombies. Isabella is trapped on top of the Humvee fighting off the zombies, and Frank does his best impression of Darth Vader. And that's it. That's how the game ends. I then get my next achievement for getting the true ending achievement.
Okay.
So now starting playthrough 2. My main goal for this playthrough is the achievement for saving 50 survivors. I will work on other achievements along the way of trying to do it, but that is my main goal for this playthrough. There are a couple achievements that unlock certain items for you if you unlock them. The 50 survivor one is one of them. So if you do the 50 survivor achievement, when you start your next game on New Game Plus, in the safe house there'll be a magazine on the floor that gives you infinite ammo with all guns, or makes your melee weapons have infinite durability so they never break. So the main goal for this playthrough is to get that achievement in order to unlock that magazine going forward for the other playthroughs, and to ultimately eventually help out with the 7-day survivor achievement down in the end.
Starting playthrough 2 is really easy. All you do is at the main menu, you pretty much go to new game, and then from there you get to select an old save file that you have completed that will overwrite your next save file, thus starting pretty much New Game Plus, and that also unlocks my next achievement in the game for starting a second playthrough as well.
Yeah, so that started off right away.
I then run into Psychopath number 9, one of the guys from Duck Dynasty. I just continue to pretty much fight him with the chainsaw and shoot him in the face. It's actually easier to shoot him in this one than melee him, because if you melee him, he just kind of throws you back over the counter. But eventually I do get him, I kill him, he goes down like the animal he is and dies. I then run into Psychopath number 10, the crazy cultist guy from the first playthrough who somehow I never found in that playthrough, but here he is in the second playthrough. He is a lot harder of a boss than the typical bosses in this game. He's just very annoying. He's very aggressive, very fast, and his sword attacks just constantly kind of keep hitting you into the air. You kind of just have to do what you do best and just keep kind of running and dashing and hitting him as much as you can, and then running away from him. but when he hits you into the air, trust me, it is annoying as hell. Eventually he does die though, and then he gets exactly what he deserves. Right after this, while saving some of the survivors in a room, I get my very next achievement for getting to max level, which is level 50. Followed by my next achievement for answering 30 calls on the walkie-talkie.
Damn.
I then get to Psychopath number 11, a typical soy boy you'd find out in the world. He's really not that hard. He just kind of runs away with the Molotovs, and he just continues to keep throwing them at you. You just kind of chase him, hit him with the chainsaw, chase him again, keep hitting him. He's really, 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 really not that bad. Even the Molotovs don't even really do that much damage. But finally, when I do kill him, I get my achievement for killing 10 psychopaths, even though he was the 11th one. Okay.
So yeah, that achievement like randomly glitched on me. That's the only achievement in the game that I had a glitchy situation with. Still unlocked, but I just want to know why it unlocked after my 11th kill on a psychopath and not the 10th like it's supposed to. So if anybody knows, I believe I counted all the other psychopaths correctly up to this point. If anybody knows, please leave a comment down below if I'm miscounting one of the psychopaths, or just was one of those weird things that happened and the achievement just glitched out and unlocked when it shouldn't have. I don't know. I tried to look up some information about it, couldn't find anything. So if anybody knows if I'm messing up wrong or it was just weird, let me know.
I then get my next achievement for putting 10 masks on top of zombies' heads.
We're gonna find out. Ah, would you look at that? That's cool, man.
I then run into my final psychopath of the game, Kenneth. Honestly, the only reason why I'm really running into him is because I need him for the photo to photograph all the survivors in the game. He is actually kind of a pain in the ass, though. He's fast. He hits really, really hard. He dodges your attacks, but honestly, just keep up doing the same thing, using the chainsaw. Try to use guns maybe as best when you can, but eventually you will defeat him. Then you can actually get the achievement for getting full set, which is for taking a photo of every survivor in the game, which is my next achievement after doing this.
Oh, okay. I got nervous for a second. It was not popping.
I then go into the parking garage underground and run into Zombie Brad, thus unlocking me my next achievement in the game as well. Yeah, Brad didn't have a good time down there, unfortunately. I then get my next achievement for jumping in a car or motorcycle for at least 33 feet.
Yeah.
Followed by my next achievement for running into Zombie Jesse back in the safe room.
Aw, poor Jessie. I don't even understand how she really turned, to be honest with you.
I then get my next achievement for getting 100 kills with the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
I then bolt through the remainder of the story mode until I get back to the end of the game in overtime mode again, going through the tunnels with Isabella, getting all the way back to the tank fight, and also fighting Lieutenant Dan all over again. This is the only way, unfortunately, to be able to get the 50 survivors out of the mall, so that is my next achievement for the Saint achievement, saving 50 survivors.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Yes.
So now going into playthrough 3, my main goal for this playthrough is the achievement for 53,000 kills. I can't remember the exact number. It's 53,200 and something or whatever. But 53,000 kills. In the original game, you had to do this in one playthrough. The kills didn't carry over from playthrough to playthrough. In this version of the game, it does. So whatever kills I got in the first playthrough carry into the second, which carry into now the third playthrough. So I'm already have like 5,000 kills already. So now I just need to get like 48,000 more. I tried doing the method from the original game, which is in the parking lot, which is essentially you get to the parking lot as soon as possible, and you get into the car, into the van, or whatever, and you just start driving around in circles like a madman until the car explodes. You get a new car, and then you do it all over and over again. You fail all the main quests, you fail all the side quests, and you don't do anything. You just dedicated an entire playthrough to that. And it is boring. It is very, very boring. So I got lucky and I found another method that somebody did online, and I went, well, I'm going to try that method. So we will get to that method. So at first I do try to do the thing in the parking lot with getting the kills. Then I decided to go on to that different method that I had found. So along the way, I work on other achievements as well on this playthrough. And the 53,000 kills achievement, just like the 50 survivor ones, unlocks a special item for you in a safe house, which for the 53,000 kills is the Mega Man Blaster. So combining that with the magazine for infinite ammo, you have a really powerful weapon to go into the 7-day survivor achievement with.
So I start playthrough 3 just for the achievement for 53,000 kills. Yeah, the only method I knew of at the time was going into the garage and running over zombies over and over again until you get to 53,000 kills and dedicating an entire playthrough to it. I got bored of this rather quickly, and I ended up looking for another method which I found and I will be using for this playthrough. So, in order to do it, I stop what I'm doing with the car, get my next achievement for getting 10,000 kills, and then move on to the method that I'm going to be using going forward at the end of the game to get the 53,000 kills.
Alright. Well,
I then get my next achievement for changing into 5 different costumes.
I got that one.
I then go to this area in the game to pick up a golf club, locating them in the sports store in Paradise Plaza. I then proceed to go outside and I get my very next achievement in the game for sending a golf ball flying for at least 100 feet.
Alright, well that was easy. Cool.
I then go to the fountain in Paradise Plaza to pick up a bowling ball, followed by my next achievement for sending 5 zombies flying with 1 bowling ball impact.
There we go. Seemed like a lot better of a place to get it. Whee!
I then go to the food court and get my next achievement for breaking 30 items. There's a bunch of barrels here, use those, and you have to break the item while hitting a zombie with it as well. I then go to this area and get one of the big blue umbrellas to get my next achievement, which is for knocking 10 zombies aside with the parasol. My next achievement is for doing all of the juice mixes in the game. There are 7 different combinations. All of the items are located between the food court and the grocery store where we fought Psychopath number 2 earlier in the video. Honestly, I didn't really use any of them in the game. They are useful, but I didn't use any of them, so maybe you will. But here's a list of the combinations and what they make on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I then get my next achievement for changing into all available costumes in the game.
Yeah. The Red Goblin mask. Oh, still.
I then get my next achievement for getting all PP stickers in the game, which is a collectible. This one is highly missable. The only way to get into this room is unfortunately to let the cultists kill you by using a smoke attack on you, and you have to do it before you kill the cultist leader guy.
So now I'm going to show you the method I was talking about with getting the 53,000 kills, the other method that I learned about online. Couple things. In order to do this method, one, you need to have saved the 50 survivors already to unlock the magazine for infinite ammo. Then you want to get to overtime mode by doing all the main quests, unlock overtime mode, do everything for Isabella, but before turning in the last items and leaving with Isabella, make sure you grab the rocket launcher and the magazine so you have infinite shots with the rocket launcher. From there, then now I can show you the method of exactly how it works and what you have to do.
We're then back at the end of the game, and now I'm going to be showing you the method that I was talking about. This is way quicker than running over zombies in order to get to the 53,000 kills. Unfortunately, once again, you do need to get into overtime mode in order to get here again with Isabella, but pretty much you keep going back and forth through these two doors right here. Make sure you have the magazine for infinite rocket launchers. Make sure you grab a rocket launcher, and then get to this area. And I mean the magazine for infinite ammo. Anyways, you keep pretty much going back and forth through the doors, resetting the two areas, and just blowing the hell out of the zombies over and over and over again. So this is what I did for several hours after this. It took quite a while, but it was probably a lot faster than it ever would have been with driving the car over and over and over again in a huge circle in the parking garage. So I just kind of speed through it. I believe it took around 5 hours of playing or so. But unfortunately, for me, it was a lot more boring than I hoped it would be, but it went by a lot quicker than the car. So that is the next achievement I do unlock from this method, is getting the 53,000 kill achievement.
Thank you. Ooh.
I then move on to playthrough number 4. My only goal for this playthrough is 2 different achievements, one for having 8 survivors all at the same time, and another achievement for having 8 female survivors all at the same time in my party. So as long as I just go over the 8 female ones, that'll also unlock the other one for having 8 in general. This achievement is considered probably now the hardest achievement in the game, since the 7-day survivor one is now considered much easier in this version of the game. But pretty much as Frank, in order to make this as easy as possible, I go on a murderous rampage, just killing everybody that I can. This way, only female survivors will spawn in, and I can go on a path of, righteousness and save all of them. Unfortunately, a lot of the survivors in the beginning, though, you do have to kill. It's kind of funny killing them, too. But then eventually I do get to the saving. I say female number 1 right here, followed immediately by female number 2. Now, the next ones are the easiest. You got to fight Paul Blart again, and you save the 4 women that are in there as well. That'll get females 3 through 6. Then right afterwards, you can get female number 7, and then you can save the girl that's trapped in the box, Jennifer from the cultists, getting you female number 8, and getting me my last 2 achievements that I can get in the story mode. 8 survivors and 8 female survivors.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's the more rare one, the Grateful 8. Yeah.
So finally, I'm at the achievement that I was saving for last, the 7-day survivor achievement. Like I said earlier, in the original game, it required you to sit down for 14 hours straight and play. I never even tried to attempt it in the original game because I was too afraid I'd be like 10 or 11 or 12 hours in and then die from something stupid, and I just wouldn't have the patience to do it all over again. This game, it only takes about 3 hours, and that's because you can time travel with your watch now in the bathroom. So the 2 main things I'll say make sure you do: utilize a guide for sure, like a guide for where all the food is located in the game on the map, and exactly where to go to get it and what it is and blah 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 blah, and utilize it in the bathroom, letting your health deplete and then using it to heal back. And then also the second thing, utilizing the fast time travel watch ability in the bathroom, because both of those things, a guide for the food and being able to fast travel at the time, makes it much quicker, faster, shorter, and believe me, much easier.
Now I go on to start Infinity Mode. Essentially what Infinity Mode is to see how long you can survive in the game. There are no quests, there are no main quests, side quests. You don't have to save any survivors or anything like that. You just have to survive. There are 2 achievements linked to this mode, one for surviving 5 days and one for surviving 7 days. Each in-game day is equivalent to 2 hours in real time. This is what made this achievement particularly hard in the original version of the game. It was considered the hardest achievement. Now it isn't, because you can fast forward time on your little watch in the bathroom. But back then in the day, you had to dedicate a good 14-hour period of non-stop playing in order to get these 2 achievements. The reason why you have to non-stop play is because your life slowly goes down over time, and you have to constantly eat food and other things around the mall in order to gain back life. It's highly recommended that you do this while you're at the max level with all the skills unlocked. while also having the Mega Man blaster and the magazine for infinite ammo and everything along those lines. I highly recommend looking up a very good guide. There is only a certain amount of food in the entire game on the entire map. They do not respawn or anything like that, so you have to go around the map making sure to get all of the food that you can. Making sure to also utilize it to its best ability to healing your life. Don't get overconfident or start eating a bunch of it just because you lose. No, get down to like 1 bar of life and then eat 2 snacks or whatever, and then let it get down to 1 bar of life again and before you eat something else. Make sure you always at least have probably 2 entire full health healing items in your inventory at all times, just in case you get surrounded by zombies or get attacked by zombies or anything like that. You can also get attacked by survivors in this mode and by psychopaths in this mode, and they are completely random. Though if you look at the mini-map, they do show up as a little symbol on the map, like a skull, person's skull, or something along those lines. So at least you have an idea of where they are when you're looking at the map, but that's roughly about it. Like I said, this mode does take a while, though. Even with the time traveling on your watch, it still does take a while. It took me about 3 hours, but that's much better than 14 hours. And it actually is quite fun. It's not unfun, you know. It's just very tedious. Essentially, you're just going from one section of the mall, getting all the food, going to the next section of the mall, getting all the food in there, figuring out a place to hide or wait or stand in order to let your health deplete, heal back up, then get the rest of the food. Honestly, hiding in the bathrooms is your best bet. Only one psychopath I know of kept following me into the bathroom, and I kept fighting him in there. But nobody else will follow you in there, and no zombies will follow you in there. So your best bet, grab a bunch of all the food items you can in that one area, go into the bathroom, wait until your health depletes multiple times. And by doing that, what I mean when you deplete it is just go into the bathroom, fast forward it until you're down to 1 health bar, then use items to heal back up, fast forward time again until you're down to 1 health bar, and over and over and over, keep doing this until you're down to having full health and only 2 full health items left in your inventory. Then run back out, grab the rest of the food, and just rinse and repeat until you go through all the food in a given area. At first, I think I'm doing actually a pretty good job of this on my first run through the game. I'm following the guide pretty good, getting all the items I can as best as I could. But unfortunately, well, it doesn't really go the way that I planned it. I mean, just watch. You'll see what happens.
Get off of me.
So I failed and died already. So obviously I did not do a good job at this game. Not happy about that. So not good.
So I start attempt number 2. At this point, I was actually kind of aggravated, to be honest with you. I was just hoping to get it on the first try, but it could have been worse. It could have been where I was like 2.5 hours in and then died and had to start completely all over. The first attempt was only about 24 minutes long or so it really wasn't that bad. From here, I just kind of do the same thing I was doing on the first attempt, getting all the same food in the same locations, getting the same weapons, the same magazine, going through the same areas, and just doing what I have to do to keep progressing further and further. Fortunately, though, this time, everything starts working out for me. I start going really good. I do run into a few psychopaths and fight them along the way. But after about roughly 2 hours or 2.5 hours or so, I finally unlocked the achievement for getting to the 5-day survivor.
Well, there's 5-day survivor.
After that, I was finally in the home stretch. I was almost to the end, to the point where I could almost taste it. I could smell it. I could feel it. And unfortunately, nothing else bad happened. I did get it on the second attempt. It only took about another hour or so, maybe an hour and 15 minutes after getting the 5-day survivor in order to unlock the 7-day survivor achievement. But I was incredibly happy. Believe me, it was a relief because I was dreading this achievement from the beginning of the game. So anyways, that's what happens. The very next achievement and my final achievement I get in the game is the one for the 7-day survivor achievement. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. That's Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, all 50 achievements, my journey on how I got them, how I unlocked them. I hope things that you watched here in this video today helped you. If you plan on playing the game in the future, at least gave you some sort of pointers or tips or something. Anything that you think can improve what I did, absolutely let me know down below. And once again, I thank everybody for watching. The game, like I said, 50 achievements for the 1,000 gamer score. I want to say it took me around 35 hours or so to unlock all of them across 4 playthroughs, plus the 7-day survivor playthrough, which was like another 3 hours on top of that. So I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great game. I absolutely loved the original one back in the day. I still love the second one too. I hope that actually gets remastered next. I would be definitely buying that as well. After the second one, no, they kind of all go downhill after that, so I don't really recommend anything after Dead Rising 2. But Dead Rising 1 will always be the best one. Then you got Dead Rising 2, which is a stronger one as well. And then after that, eh. But 8.5 out of 10, great video game, a lot of fun, zombies, killing people, just a great game overall. So highly recommend you play it. Definitely play it. Once again, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you. Please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe, a comment, anything. Tell your friends. I don't know. Just thank you. I appreciate you watching. And the next game I will be doing is going to be a PlayStation game, which I haven't played PlayStation in 15 years. So the next game I'll be doing is Bloodborne. So that will be the next one that I will be releasing. Hopefully soon. Sooner rather than later. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching.